Hello everyone. In the previous video, we learned about phrasal verbs. Phrasal verbs are typically formed by a combination of a verb with a preposition, an adverb, or both. In this video, we will learn about the types of phrasal verbs. Phrasal verbs can be transitive or intransitive, and separable or inseparable. Let's talk about transitive and intransitive phrasal verbs first. So, what is the difference between a transitive phrasal verb or transitive phrasal verbs and intransitive phrasal verbs? Transitive phrasal verbs are those phrasal verbs that require an object to complete their meaning. So the object here is the thing or person that receives the action of the verb. Say for example, when we say turn off, when we say turn off, it's not complete. Turn off what? So we can say turn off the TV. Turn off here is the phrasal verb and TV is the object being acted upon, which means we are stopping the TV from working. How about intransitive phrasal verbs? Intransitive phrasal verbs are those phrasal verbs that do not require an object to complete their meaning. They are complete with just the verb and the particle, and nothing is receiving the action directly. For example, wake up. The phrasal verb wake up is intransitive because it doesn't require an object to make sense. Its meaning is complete on its own. Now let's talk about separable and inseparable phrasal verbs. Phrasal verbs can be categorized based on whether they are separable or inseparable, which affects how they are used with objects. Alright, a phrasal verb that is separable is one where the object can come between the verb and the particle. Say for example, the phrasal verb put on. So the verb here is put and the particle on, which means to dress oneself with something. So you can say, for example, she put on her shoes or she put her shoes on. So the object here, her shoes, can come between the verb and the particle. So that is an example of a separable phrasal verb. How about inseparable phrasal verbs? Inseparable phrasal verbs, the object must come after the verb and the particle. So inseparable phrasal verbs do not allow the object to interrupt the verb and particle combination. Say for example, the phrasal verb look after, which means to take care of someone or something. For example, he looks after her. Look after is considered an inseparable phrasal verb because if you put the object in between the verb and the particle, say look, and then you put your object here between look and after, the meaning would be different or the meaning would be changed. So this means that the words look after must be used together in the exact order without placing the object or any other word in between. To summarize, transitive phrasal verbs are those phrasal verbs that require an object and can be separable or inseparable, which means you can insert or put the object in between the verb and the particle, or you can put the object at the end or after the verb and particle. Whereas the intransitive phrasal verbs do not require an object, and they are inherently inseparable. I hope you now understood the difference between the transitive phrasal verbs and the intransitive phrasal verbs, and the separable and inseparable phrasal verbs. I will put list of transitive, intransitive, separable, and inseparable phrasal verbs in the next videos.